Jamal, thanks so much for joining us. I do want to point out, we had Brian Billick up here. Was it yesterday or the day before? My days get confused. And I said, that team should be remembered as one of the all-time great dominant teams. And he's like, it was. I was like, but I don't know if you put it in the 85 Bear category, even though it should.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You were part of it.
Yeah.
You were the biggest offensive part of it.
Yeah.
How do you think that team is perceived and remembered now 24 years later?
I think we had that 30 for 30, the bullies of Baltimore. I think that's how we're seen, and I think the defense was outstanding. Like I was telling somebody earlier, I've never played on a defense which called the shots on how many points we needed to score in order for us to win. Ray and those guys used to come in and say, hey, we just need 7 points this week. We need 10 points this week. That's how good they were. And they were relentless, and it was a great group of guys over there. And we rolled them all the way to the Super Bowl. But we had a quarterback in Trent Dilfer that didn't make mistakes, and we threw the ball to Shannon Sharp, and we ran the ball very well. So luckily we came out on top, in that game.
You had 1,300 yards that season, right? That was your rookie year in the NFL. Right. That's got to be crazy, right? Like you come in as a rookie and they give you the ball right away and you win a Super Bowl.
Right.
You're like, man, this is easy.
Yeah, you think you're going to do that every year.
And it was not.
No, it's not like that at all. Only got one, and, everything got to go right. And I think that year we had a real team. We dealt with a lot of adversity starting out that season that we had to deal with, as a family and as a team and as an organization, and we dealt with it. And, and it showed, every year. I mean, every game we got better and better, and we build on that. And the championship teams I've been on, that's just what it is. You have to have that team atmosphere and that camaraderie, and that's what we had. A
couple years later, obviously you went through the knee injury. You come back, you rushed for 2,000 yards, right? And you had a different quarterback, Kyle Bowler, young quarterback, right? You rushed for 2,000 yards, but you lost in the wild card game. What's that like to have such personal success, right? And yet your team comes up short? What's that like?
Well, it hurts, but it's kind of like one of them things where, hey, how far can we really go doing this, right? We go into the playoffs, we're going to play Tennessee, a good team, and they know we're going to run the ball. We just rushed for 2,000 yards over the season, so there's no question if what we're going to do offensively, right? And honestly, man, I had 380 plus carries or so, man, and I was burnt out. Yeah. I can tell you that. But it was disappointing to go into that game and lose or whatever. But it was only so far we can go. And we had Anthony Wright at quarterback too.
Right. No, you had Anthony Wright. You had Redmond for a couple games as well.
Right. Because Bowler was hurt.
Right. Bowler was hurt, but Bowler never. The next year he was 9-7. Then the following year there was his last year.
Yeah.
When did you know this guy didn't have it?
Earlier on, I can tell you that. But he had a big arm. He had a big arm, but I think just the system, grasping the system, and, just getting it right and limiting the mistakes, he just wasn't doing,
I'm asking you because you see a lot of Niners, and now they're in the Super Bowl, and these guys swear by Brock Purdy. Right? But some of it is like, look, it's the media. Like, what are you going to say, right? But generally, you guys if you play with a dude, if he's got it or if he doesn't got it, right?
Oh yeah.
Players know.
Yeah.
Do you believe what they say about Purdy?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He stepped in. He's answered the bell. He runs the offense well. He is a little mobile, but he can deliver the ball, and he has a good group that he can deliver it to also. But limiting the mistakes and just being able to put together those wins. You're the real deal.
Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio, coming to you live from the TireRack.com studios. TireRack.com. Hope you get there. Unmatched selection, fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection. Over 10,000 recommended installers. TireRack.com. The way the tire buying should be. Here with Jamal Lewis, of course, 7 times he rushed for over 1,000 yards. He had the 3rd greatest season as a running back with over 2,000 yards. One season in the National Football League, of course, and he was Offensive Player of the Year in the NFL. And what you're doing now, partnering with the likes of Ron Jaworski and Neil Smith, helping out people with their mental health. How are you doing that?
Basically, mindbodyo.com is basically, bringing mental health, wellness, to the masses, basically, and putting it all under one roof, which that's what MindBodyO does, is, having your therapist, having your psychiatrist, everybody under one roof so you can get diagnosis, you can get your plan, and you can get everything that you need in order to, live a better life or live a better quality of life as well. So that's why I've joined this. I've lived it. I've lived through depression after playing football and dealing with the things that go on after being in that spotlight and dealing with family and going back to a regular civilian lifestyle. It's something to deal with, and a lot of guys deal with it.
What is that like?
It's pressure because you don't have structure, right? Since I was 8 years old, playing football and
somebody tells you when to work out, where to be,
you already have a plan.
Right.
You already know what you have to do. But when you're done, you don't have that. You don't have 75,000 fans, cheering you on. You don't have that. So it's something to deal with when you've been in that spotlight for so long, and being able to go and talk to somebody, being able to voice what you're going through as a man, that's something that you really need to do, and we don't do.
But there's still a taboo towards it. What did it take for you to get to talk to somebody? What pushed you to getting help?
I think when I was at rock bottom, and really you just try to put together everything that you've learned, all the different experiences that you've taken from coaches, from great players that you played against, and being able to reach back out and talk to somebody that's close to you and say, hey, look, this is what I'm dealing with. And this is how I'm feeling. Do you feel this way? Or whatever. And you kind of bounce these things off or whatever. And then next thing you know, you have somebody else that's dealing with the same thing you're dealing with, but you never knew until you open your mouth to actually discuss that. And, men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women. Right? So that number right there within itself just lets you know that, as men, we need to discuss and talk more about our feelings, and it's okay not to be okay, right?
Yeah, totally. By the way, you can call 682-837-TALK, 682-837-TALK, or go to mindbodyo.com, mindbodyo.com. Okay, Christian McCaffrey, different back than you. Right? Like you were power and speed, right? And he's speed, but different, a lot more elusive, a lot more catching it out of the backfield. Running back to running back, though, what do you appreciate about Christian McCaffrey?
Man, his hard work and how he runs the ball just aggressively. He might be a little smaller than I am or was, but at the same time, the way that he puts his foot in the ground and the way that he works north and south, I love that about him. He has to be probably the best back in the NFL right now, if you ask me, just off of how he approached the game, how he trains in the offseason, and just how he delivers, when he's out there on the field.
All right, what about Pacheco? You ever seen a dude run that hard?
Oh, Pacheco. They're like the same. Pacheco the same way.
Pacheco plays, though, like, if you play video games, he plays like you're holding down the turbo button.
Right,
yeah. But that dude's like, it's okay to...
Adrian Peterson ran like that, too.
Yes.
So he has that, man, and it's going to be... It's going to be good to watch, both of them, go up against each other. But I love both of their running styles.
23 years ago, the 2000 season, you won a Super Bowl. What do you remember about when that game was over, when you beat the Giants?
Oh, man. I just remember just being happy and elated that we got through it and we closed it, right? We closed it out and we won. So that's really what I remember most.
One of the few guys that can say I rushed for 2,000 yards in one season in the National Football League. 7 times he rushed for over 1,000 yards in the National Football League. Of course, won Super Bowl 35, and it was the 03 NFL Offensive Player of the Year. He's the one and only Jamal Lewis. Remember, that's mindbodyo.com, mind body optimization. This is great stuff. Thanks for joining us.
Good stuff. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's Jamal Lewis joining us here on the Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports Radio.